Well, this is a Flying J in London, Ontario. Time now is 4:30. I've been up since 3:30. The truck keeps, jerking a little bit. Turns out, I'm like, whenever there's a truck passing in front, it looks like this area in front of the truck, because there's a diesel pumps in there, looks like it has fuel tanks. It has fuel tanks, and so this whole area, it's like, each time a truck is passing, my truck is like jerking, and then there's nobody's passing, and still my truck is jerking because these guys are idling their engines. Like, what's going on? Is my load is falling off the trailer or something? So I went around, and the trailer is on the ground, the front. I put the front on the ground, to help with the, save the truck and trailer from too much weight. I always do that when I have a super heavy load. I just use my hydraulics, put the front on the ground and drain the suspension. And that's why it was jerking, because I drained all the air from the truck and the Jeep, and so it's like metal on metal. And so I raised the trailer, I put the air back in the truck. But as I was walking around, I decided to walk around and check my chains, so that I don't have to do it, in the morning. And I set up my alarm for 5 o'clock, and so it's still 3:30, right? And I see the tires, like the bulge on the side is a little bit bigger than what it should be, right? And so I look between the tires to make sure they don't touch each other, right? And I hit them. No, they're not flat. And so I checked one axle where the bulge was a bit big, but basically it's the ground. Sometimes there's like a little mini hill, right? And so the tire pushes into that, and you see a bigger bulge. But usually that's the quickest way to tell a flat tire, when you see a bulge. It can be either the outside tire or the inside tire, and so you look in between and you see, if they're too close or they're touching, and of course you can hit them. But sometimes it's hard to tell if the tire is flat. If you don't hit it hard enough, you really have to smash it, And so I checked axle 3, everything is good. And then I check axle 4, and I look in between, and I see this. So as you can see, there's a big crack on the inside of the driver's side outside tire, and I'm like, what's going on? It's not a retread. All these tires are they came with the trailer, but I might have changed one of them. I might have changed one of the tires, so I wonder if they gave me a retread, but I don't buy retreads. That's my personal policy. I don't believe in them. But that just cracked. I know, either from a high temperature, but it's the last axle. I don't think I have that much weight. Usually it's hard to put enough weight on the last axle, right? And I see by the airbags that it's not that heavy. So the airbags are higher than on other axles, so a little bit higher. And then I look at the map. I'm 86 kilometers or 52 miles away from my destination, and that was the plan, to get up at 5, because the sunrise it's at 6:15. I can start driving half an hour before, which is 5:45, and I always need 45 minutes before I get going. So the alarm was set for 5, so I knew that I'll be by 5:45 I'll be perfect. I can go. And even though the crane is set for 9, but I wanna pass, before all the traffic starts, and I'd rather wait there. So I thought, if I leave, let's say at 5:45 or 6, so I should be there like at 7, and I'll just sit there and wait, and maybe I can, if they show me the spot, I can start taking my chains off, you know. But anyway, so now like there's no way I can risk it with that tire. It's illegal. You cannot drive with a tire like that. Basically it would explode once the temperature would rise of the tire when you start driving. And so 3:30 in the morning, I'm thinking, okay, I know there's a tire place right across the street here, this Kel tire that I use, but they only open at 8, and then there's no guarantee that they'll start working at on your truck at 8. Basically, you know, it would be cheaper if I could drive, right? If I could just drive to their shop. But I don't want to drive with this thing. Like, I'm 96 feet long, I'm, you know, 192,000 pounds gross. I'd rather pay to somebody to come out and do it here. And so I called a couple of shops from truckdown.com. That's what, you know, free website I use, where you can find somebody for mobile repair for tires or truck or trailer, you know. Very useful. Truckdown.com. Just put your location, and I guess those people advertise there. So let's say if you're looking for a tire emergency service in London, Ontario, I found there was like 3 or 4 spots, yeah, right here in London. But nobody's answering phone. I didn't want to leave a message, and finally one guy answers the phone, and actually one girl, and she says, I'm the dispatcher, so I'm gonna pass your number to a technician, he'll call you back. And so then the guy calls me back, and he says, no, we don't have any used tires. I said, what about retreads? You know, because I'm gonna change all tires to different size soon anyway. They're all 2 years old, right? I don't want to buy a brand new tire, because I'll be just using it briefly until I switch to 12-inch. I want to change all my tires from 11 to 12 in size. And this guy says, no, you'll have to buy a new tire. And then I said, no, it's not going to work for me, because, you know, new tire can be $500-600 bucks, Canadian, but still, you know, it's a lot of money. And so I remember this Kel tire. I know there's a Kel tire, right? And I thought, wait a second, okay, they're closed, but I'm pretty sure I know they do emergency roadside assistance 24/7. So I started my computer, used my cell phone for the Wi-Fi on the laptop, and went to the keltire.com, and right there in services it says emergency roadside assistance 24/7. Cool. So I call that, and I talked to Sherry, the dispatcher. She takes all my info, and she says, I need your credit card for pre-authorization for $1,000. And I'm like, wait a second. No, at first she says, I need to pre-authorize your credit card for $4,000. I said, why so much? Well, you know, it's I cannot send a technician unless we pre-authorize for, and my computer is telling me $4,000. And I said, wait, 4,000? She says, no, 1,000. But that's what I was hearing, 4,000. Like, so that she says the tire is like 300 bucks Canadian retread. They don't have, she says, yeah, we do have used tires, but we don't have access to used tires at night. And I cannot wait. I don't, of course I can tell the crane to, you know, screw this, wait, I have a flat tire, but you know, it's they pay a lot of money to rent a crane. So I don't want to put them in that spot. So basically I need to fix the tire, but I don't want to buy a new tire. So she says, yeah, we do have a retread. What's your size? I said 275 70 22.5. And she let me check. Yeah, she says that location has 3 tires like that, retread, so 300 bucks. And then they charge 200, all Canadian, so 200 for the service call just to come out, and plus a fee, of course, to take the tire off and put the new one on. So it's, she says the pre-authorization is for like 650 bucks, but she says no, actually, wait, for $1,000. But she says the charge so far shows as about 600 bucks, but we just have to pre-authorize it a bit higher in case there's more labor. It's kind of like President Trump says, you know, when you do a lot of testing, you find a lot of cases. So basically, if I wouldn't have walked around the truck, I wouldn't have found the tire, and I probably could have saved this $650 It's the same logic, right? So if you do testing, you have too many cases, right? So if you walk around the truck, you find a bad tire. But if I hadn't found it, it would have exploded on the side of the road. And with such a heavy load, you know, I don't want to take any chances. So Captain Sergei is being vigilant at 3:30 in the morning. So if you feel something, say something, you know, like I'm lying on the bed, I feel like the truck is shaking. Like, why is it shaking, right? So that's why I started walking around, checking chains. I cannot sleep. And I see this. So not sure if I'll be able to show you unloading, because it's a private yard and they have a specific policy about social media. So I cannot show the actual location or the crane, but we'll see. Maybe Alaska, maybe they'll allow me to film. So for now, time now is 4:48, 10 to 5. So I already killed my alarm clock, and I think I won't be able to leave at 5:45 because the guy is still not here. It's not gonna take long. It's probably gonna take like half an hour. So once it's here, I'm gonna go to the truck stop and I'll brush my teeth and buy some coffee, and probably it should not take long. I just hope he can lift that axle, right? Because there's still weight with this crane superstructure, you know, and that's the issue, right? Because you need to raise the axle. He has to put a jack under the axle, raise it in order to take the wheel off. The good news is that when we were connecting the spreader bar back in Illinois, the guy greased all the wheels, because on this trailer, because it was sitting for 2 years in Alabama before I bought it, the rims are very difficult to separate, like, you know, when you try to take the outside wheel from the inside. But this guy had to take them off, all of them, and then when he was putting them back on, I said, can you please put some grease in there so they don't rust again? And so he did that. So I think now we should be good, and the guy will be able to take off the tire with no problems. What caused this? If there was like a cut or something? Why would, I know it's not a retread, why would a tire crack like this? That would definitely could have exploded, right? If I kept driving?
Oh, it would have blown up there.
Yeah.
You gotta change up for sure.
Sorry?
It has to be changed for sure. That thing's fucked, man.
Yeah, no, I know. And it was not flat. I only discovered it. I was walking at 3:30 in the morning. I couldn't sleep, and I'm like, what is this? I had to
yeah, it would have blown up on you.
Yeah, and I only have to go to Kitchener, but it's 85 kilometers. With this load, I thought it'll blow up on the side of the road.
I wouldn't risk it. Yeah.
Yeah. There you see, the guy says I did the proper thing. He would have blown. So yeah, the technician showed up only hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, but it's weird. I think it's probably it's because of the like, it was very hot. It was very hot last week, you know, maybe because it was sitting under lots of pressure. But again, it's the last axle. By the way, people keep leaving these stupid comments about masks, like, if you're not wearing a mask, you should get a fine, right? Unless in your state or city it's not the rule. Over here, I cannot enter the truck stop unless I wear something, right? It says face coverings required. They just did this. What's funny is, like, this pandemic pretty much is slowly, you know, getting better, right? And finally over here they started doing this just like in the States. You cannot enter a public building without wearing a face covering, and so that's why I just have it, because I went in to grab some coffee, and this guy does not need me there because he has my they have my credit card, but I think he will ask me to sign something. But I asked him, I said, it's so tight in here, you want me to maybe like wiggle a little bit, because this guy parked so close to me, but over here I got much more room, you know. So, and I thought I can go like this a little bit and then left, and so this would bring the rear of the trailer closer this way, because you see over here I can see in the mirror there's like 5 feet or something, whereas here it's like maybe 3 feet between me and that truck. And this spot, like this guy parked there, and he's 2 guys changed here, as you know. I stopped here at probably what, 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning yesterday, and a couple of trucks changed here. But this place, 5 or 6 trucks come and go, and I'm like, holy moly, I'm pretty far from the building. You see, like that's the last pump, and the building is way over there. But you know, it's a pretty busy truck stop, and so even so far from the truck stop, there's still people are, you know, they want to park in this row because it's close, it's easy to walk there. And the guy was asking me, where are you inside the truck stop, what part? And I said, if you go to diesel pumps and you just go to the one furthest away from the building, I said, I'm the truck across the driveway from that pump. And I said, you will see I have a oversized load sign. I have the bright yellow sign on my bumper, so it's easy to see. And I said, oh, what are you driving? He says, a pickup truck, service truck. And I said, okay, when I see you, I'll start my flashing light on the roof, you know, like. One of the guys still working in there. My GoPro 8 died. The previous footage was recorded with GoPro 8. Now we're back to session 5, and I see it's already getting light. I love sunrise, you know. For me, I like getting up early. I hate driving after dark, like 10, 11, like some guys like driving till midnight. I hate that. Plus, you know, I'm often oversized, overweight, so I need lots of space. So for me, it's important to find parking space, right? And if you're driving late, like 8, 9, 10, there's no parking spots, you know. Like if you're somewhere in a busy area, forget it. So you gotta shut down early. So I'd rather wake up at 5 and start driving, you know, like 5:45 than drive till 11. Oh, looks like the guy's done. It doesn't take long. And there's a scale there, right? Which reminds me that yesterday, as I was coming into the truck stop, I thought, okay, like I know my like gross weight approximately, maybe like to 1,000 pounds, but I want to double check, you know. And there's a scale here. In Canada they're pretty expensive, it's like 20 bucks, but I thought, you know what, I'm not that long, I only have the Jeep, right? I don't have the Stinger, so it should not be too difficult to to do a split weigh, right? So as they call it. And here you have to come first to the front of the scale, and you have to talk to them, and they ask you pounds or kilograms and your truck number. And then when the light in the end is green, then you can go, because if you go without that light being green, they cannot scale you. So I guess she has to reset the scale or something. But anyway, so I pushed that button in there. I talked to her, and yeah, go, the light is green. I said, wait, I said, I need a split scale. That's what they call it, right? So first you go on the scale, let's say with your 3, 5, yeah, with your 5 axles, and then you put the last 4. And actually when I went on the scale, I saw that when my steer axle was on the front plate, the first axle on the trailer was still on the ground, which is perfect. And I thought, okay, we're gonna do this way one, and then I talked to her and she says, okay, I'm ready, and then go to scale 2, just the trailer tires. But when I reached the end of the platform, I pushed that button again and I said, hey, so you have my weight, can I go to the second position? She says, oh, you have to back up. I said, what are you talking about? Oh, well, the scale didn't zero out, like I didn't get your weight, like I guess because I was driving slow, so something screwed up the scale, like often happens, you know. And it's very bumpy in there, it's tough to get on and off, and you know, such a heavy load, it's moving, I'm getting nervous, you know, the road is not even. And she says, well, better yet, just go around and just drive on again. And I said, you guys are unbelievable, you know that? Well, we're sorry. So I said, forget it. So I just drove around, found a parking spot, and just pulled in here. So no scale, and that's why sometimes actually the easiest way is what some guys do is forget split way. Of course, split way you save money, because split way they charge you the same as the regular way, you know. That's the difference. So but the easiest way is just to do a scale like you do a regular, and then you go around and you do the second scale for your other axles, and you just say that it's a reweigh, and they just charge you $1.50 in the States. Over here I think it's like $4, so it's a few dollars more, but it's much easier to accomplish because it's each way is a single way, right? So but of course I'd still have to go around, which I didn't want to do. It's this, I really want to get rid of this load, you know, and cannot wait, cannot see it soon enough, you know, off my trailer. I'm tired of it. It's too heavy, too much weight. Well, not too much weight as too much weight, but it's just, it feels very heavy, you know. 6:06 a.m., 6 minutes after 6, and my screen on the tablet just turned to daylight. I love that. So that's like, you know, always, because it's I have location activated, right? So that tells you the actual sunrise. So when I was searching on Google, it said 6:15 or 6:20, but it's because, you know, depending on your location, east or west, right, it's always a few minutes early or a few minutes late. And so I find that that's why I love these, you know, tablets that are always connected to the internet, because there's so much, like, the information you get is relevant. So, and I can also activate traffic, right? So let's say if there's some kind of a accident up ahead, I might see it, you know, like if I see some red. And this one looks like much better than the old one. I was still trying to sell that LG, but that one is like probably 4 years old. I put it on Kijiji in Canada, you know, online sale. $150 Canadian. One guy says, how about 50? So for $50 I'll just throw it away, you know. At least give me $100 or something. It still works, everything works. But yeah, these new ones, I don't know, they just, of course this is Samsung, right? So now all I have is Samsung for Verizon when I'm in the States, and Samsung the same Tab A when I'm in Canada. And the screen is I like the screen better, like the colors are better compared to that LG. It's like easy on the eyes. Alright, so now the guy is done. Now we're just waiting for, he was finishing the paperwork. I guess he's gonna give me a copy. He says you don't need to sign anything because it was pre-authorization. So I hope it's less than $1,000, because it should not be this much. Yeah, remember I had a flat tire on a trailer on the side of the road, and there was like $400. Oh, actually, yeah, that one, it was not a tire. there was a hole in the tire, so the guy actually repaired the tire right on the side of the road. You know, he did this vulcanization, and of course, yeah, here I'm getting a retread because you cannot fix that big crack. And so that, even though it's a retread, but it's still $300, you know, because it's like a renewed, remanufactured tire. This guy next to me, you see that Landstar star? I see he's in the driver's seat playing with his computer, and he came out yesterday to say hello. Hey Sergey, he says, I was hoping I can run into you. So he's pulling a dry van, and he says, I'm with Landstar, and I'm stuck here. He says, I want to go to Florida, but he says everything is cheap, so he's trying to find a load to Florida. From London, that's about 1,200, 1,300 miles. So that would be a good trip. So anyway, I hope this guy tells me when, like, can I go? It's already 6:10. I gotta go, but I can still see his truck behind my trailer there. All right. Well, I went back, checked with the guy, gave him my business card. I said, can you please email me the receipt? And he said, okay. I said, can I go? He said, yeah, you all set. So we can go. So my pusher is down. I think I might keep it down just for the, you know, sake of the brakes. And it's a good thing that the guy next to me left. It was a day cab. So because it was very close here, you know. So yeah, I want to leave early because before the roads get too busy. And so yeah, from here it's only 80 kilometers, 50 miles. That's it. So all this time I got loaded on July 17th, right? Which was Friday. Then I spent 2 days fighting the stinger, the booster, and then I got my permits Monday. I started driving, I think I couldn't actually, yeah, I started driving Sunday, I think, right? So I went towards Michigan, then I hired an escort, and then when I reached Port Huron, I was sitting there for 10 days waiting for my Ontario permit. Okay, I got my permits, I got my bills of lading, everything is good. Cog is here, pressure, no warning lights, almost full fuel, full def, temperature is good. And the lights are flashing in the back there. I think we're good. Like the road is uneven, and that's why I really don't like when this thing starts going left and right. Makes me nervous. But it'll probably be a while before I get up enough courage to do this stuff again. It's, you know, you would think, right? 120,000 pounds. Like, what is that? 60 American tons. 54,700 kgs. Like, what's the big deal? But this, it's a super serious load, you know.
300 meters, turn right onto Highbury Avenue South North.
But of course, mostly all this shifting, all this jerking, it's just the truck only because of the air suspension. but that whole thing, it's hardly moving on the trailer. But and that's why when I'm on the freeway, I just kept doing what Michigan permit told me to do, 45 miles per hour, and that's how I drove. It of course it's super slow, but you know, at 10 hours, if you drive at 45 miles per hour, 10 hours you can do 450 miles, you know. And from my from the loading site to my destination, it was like 630, 650 miles. Oh, remember there's a little pond in here. Once I took my camera when I had that big lens, and I was doing a wildlife, and I saw some ducks in there, but they're so cautious, you know. They as soon as they come to the front of the pond, they all swam to the very end where I cannot reach them. And speaking about wildlife, so I'm waiting for a new camera, this Canon R6 that should come out at the end of August. But now people are saying this R5 and R6, they both overheat. You know, when you do video. But I bought it for photography, not video. But it's a bit funny how the camera that cost $2,500 US has all these issues, you know, like brand new camera, right? But I'm selling this one, I'm selling USR, and I'm supposed to meet a guy on Saturday. Buy my camera for a couple of $1,000 Canadian, and so I will be cameraless until the new camera arrives. And also looks like I'm gonna pick up again wildlife photography, because I've been missing it a little bit. I really enjoy, you know, because what do? You gotta go somewhere, you gotta do something, right? I remember when I was doing wildlife photography, at least I started looking for all these parks, you know, in natural nature reserves, and it was pretty cool. You know, you grab your camera, you grab your big lens, and you go for a walk and you try to find some critters, and then you post them on Instagram or Facebook. You know, if people like them, you know, you get some satisfaction from that. But of course, you know, you cannot make any money on this, but it's kind of like a hobby, you know. And so now what's cool is that Canon, together with these two new cameras, R5 and R6, they're also releasing these two crazy f11 lenses, 600mm and an 800, and nobody ever had a lens like that before, because of course f11, that's crazy. That's you need very bright light to use that lens, but they're affordable. Like the 800mm is 1,200 Canadian, and it's already available. And so I went online and I did the pre-order, because in Canada it's still not available, but in the States it's already available. And so So I will have the new camera, and I will have this 800mm crazy f11 lens. So I know not many people like my photography videos, but you know, for me it's a relaxation. When I'm on some downtime, I'm taking time off. I like getting into my Challenger 392 with a 485 horsepower V8 and just driving somewhere and just walk in some kind of a park. You know, it just helps me relax. Alright, so this is 401. So 79 kilometers to my destination. Just under 50 miles. And I can tell you that when this thing is off my trailer, I will sigh a sigh of relief. Alright, 58, 59, 60, 62, 63, 64, 65 kilometers an hour, 66, 67, 68, 69, cruise control on, 70, 71. Come on, I don't want 73, I want 72. Oh, 72. 72 kilometers an hour, 45 miles per hour. Set. And that's how I'm driving. It's one guy was asking on Instagram, so like what's the safe speed with a load like this? Well, some people would probably drive 70 miles an hour. I cannot do that. You can probably do 50, but you know, you don't want to create any kind of force that might make the load shift, right? Well, like, even though I have so many chains, I used up all my chains. I have 20 chains on this, which is good for 200,000 pounds. Oh wait, yeah, I have 10 pairs. 3, 3, 3, yeah, 10. So one pair is good for 20,000. So yeah, so 200,000. So I should be okay, but still, because there's so much weight, right? There's this kinetic energy, you know? Like, if the road is good, I could probably do 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour. But I only have to go, you know, just over 45 miles, and I'm almost there. And my crane appointment, the most important thing, right? Like I always say, I read in my first driver manual, they say always choose the slowest speed that will get you to your destination on time. Right? So my time now is 6:27 a.m. My crane appointment is for 9. I'm 47 miles away, right? So why would I want to drive fast, right? I got lots of time, so might as well drive slow, keep everything hunky-dory, or as they say in Russia, cheeky-cheeky, you know, be safe. Better safe than sorry. The sun is right into my face, unfortunately. Wanted to make 2 comments. Is that, you know that saying about the elephant, how do you eat an elephant? See, the same thing. Even though I'm driving at a very slow speed, but still somehow I managed to get to Ontario from Illinois, and driving was just a very small part of the job, right? Because I spent so much time waiting for permits. So even at slow speed, you can move loads pretty efficiently. And the second comment I wanted to make, I was just thinking about this like I'm driving, I cannot relax. Like I feel every bump. As soon as I feel too much like shake on the trailer, I get nervous. I hit brakes, I slow down. So now we're down to 71 kilometers per hour on the cruise, which is just under 45, probably 43. And I was thinking about this TV show, Naked and Afraid, right? And so we're gonna call this video Loaded and Afraid. And honestly, I'm not enjoying this. You know, I like heavy loads, but you know, like 90,000, 9,500. Okay, that pile driver from Las Vegas was 107, but 120. You know, it's, I don't know. One guy told me, I know one guy from Landstar. He moves like these generators, but he has like a 70-ton trailer, like 3 plus 3 plus 3, right? Try them Jeep, try them trailer, try them booster. And so he moves these 120,000 pound generators for the same you know, wind farms. And I asked him, I said, when you have that kind of a load, like how fast are you driving? Like what's your favorite speed? And he said 65 miles per hour with a 60-ton load. But his trailer is a 70-ton. It's much heavier, it's much stronger, because I can tell you there's a huge difference when I look at the design, when I look at how thick all the frame members are on my trailer compared to 55-ton. Even though it's like 55 and 60, right? That's only like 5-ton difference, 10,000 pounds in the rating. But that's why the 60-ton is so much heavier, 7,000 pounds heavier than the 55, and it's much stronger. And so it's 70-ton, so the same story. It's heavier and it's much stronger than the 60-ton. And so this guy says, yeah, with the 120,000 pound generator, he's flying at 65 miles per hour. Wow, look at this guy. No respect whatsoever. Cutting off an oversized load with this huge machine, no signaling. Anyway, yeah, this sun probably makes everything useless, so we're gonna shut down. Wait till I'm 10 kilometers away from my turn, from my exit, 6 miles, almost there. Well, I can see the yard is open. I see a big crane, looks like the crane that will unload me, but I don't see any people walking around. So yeah, we agreed for 9 and now it's 20 to 8, so I'm early. I have the load. I wish I could have said no incidents, no damage, but that oil leak, and that's another thing that kept me worrying, you know, all this time as I was driving. Like, what are they, like, who's gonna pay? What are they gonna charge, you know, me or the insurance company? I have no idea for that oil pan. Anyway, I made it. This was quite a trip. So all I have to do now is just drive inside the yard, and once they tell me, you know, where they want me, just wait till somebody shows up there. And then so that's challenge number 1, because it's a dirt yard, so it's gonna be like this. I'm gonna drive like 0.003 miles per hour so that this thing doesn't go too crazy. And challenge number 2 will be taking the binders and chains off, because I already know I have one binder. When I try to take it off, I try to reposition the chain, and I have this cheetah bar, right? And so I try to use the cheetah bar to open the binder so I can take the chain off and just move it to a different D-ring. And you know, these binders are old, right? So that's why I got these new ones. So those ones, the ones that I got back in 2014 when I bought my first Kaufman trailer, they have like the handle is super, you know, narrow. Like on these new ones, I cannot put the cheetah bar pipe over the handle. It's much thicker. But those ones, very small handle, and because of that, all the teeth there in the gear, you know, when you change direction, so it just snaps, you know. Like when you try to pull it with a bar, that whole thing, the whole little circle with teeth, that ring just breaks, you know. And that's what happened. Like the binder is there, but the handle, you can rotate the handle freely because the tooth broke off. And how we took off the two binders that were stuck when I had that Stinger incident, the guy used a pipe wrench. I don't have a pipe wrench, but I hope a guys over here might have something, because it's a you know, it's a shop. They have a repair shop in here. But pipe wrench, actually, what it does is, you know, like let's say if this is the binder, right? And the binder has two parts. Actually, it's one part. It's just one part, and there's hooks in here, and that thing with teeth is in the middle, right? So if it broke down, so you can no longer turn it. But how you can open the binder just by, if you can grab this part and you can rotate it, because that's what that handle does, right? The handle rotates the entire body of the binder. And so what this guy did, he used that pipe wrench, and it was able to grab I was really surprised. It was able to grab on this kind of like a cylinder piece, right? And there was still enough traction so he can twist it, you know. And we put a cheetah bar on it, and that took a while, but you know, at least I didn't have to cut the chain. Like, that binder is gone, and that's it. But yeah, I see these ones. Yeah, so first of all, these ones, these four brand new ones that I bought, they are rated for 15,000 pounds, whereas those ones I think were either 11.3 or 13, because the half-an-inch chain is rated for 11,300 pounds. But Fontaine, one more little beef with Fontaine trailers. So the neck, right? I complain that they don't give you a longer neck. Must be at least 120, 125 inch for proper weight distribution when you don't need the Jeep. But beef number two, all their materials say WLL of the anchor points on the trailer, D-rings, is 10,000 pounds. So the chain is 11,300. Like half-an-inch chain, transport grade 70, 11,300. Binders are usually 13. You see, now I have 15, right? So in this case, the weak spot is the chain, and that's what I did before. I was always using 11,000, and then of course you double it, so you know, like if you're one lone chain, it's 11.3, so it can take 22.6. So I would just use 22,000. And then I was bugging the Fontaine about this. So basically, so what's the WLL of your D-rings? Is it 11,000? Is it 13,000? And they said neither. It's 10,000. Like, wait a second. So now basically they wanted to put more chains, right? So now if I use one indirect chain, which means the chain that goes from one side of the trailer to another side of the trailer over the load, so that one is now 10,000 times 2, so it can hold 20,000. So I'm losing 2,000 pounds on one chain, you know. And so as an example, I have 10 chains, 10 pairs. So it's like basically two short chains. It's kind of like one long chain, right? So 10 chains, I'm losing 2,000 on each, so I lost 20,000 pounds. I mean, you know, for the sake of the calculation, right? So when you calculate how many chains you need, And so, you know, that's already considerable, right? So 20,000 would really help. And because of this, it's useless to try to use, you know, like some guys use like the next size chain, like 5/8. Of course it's heavier, but you can buy, let's say, just a 3-foot chain and then use these binders. Then the binders are rated for 15,000. That 3/8 is I'm not sure, 13 probably, or 15, like it's higher, right? But there's no point in chain, like, so binders are good, right? So I can get 5/8 chain, so that this way I don't have to use as many chains as now. But there's no point because all the D-rings are only rated for 10,000 pounds, you know? And so that seems like a small detail, but it's a bit annoying, right? Because it's inconvenient. It makes the life of a driver, like a heavy hauler, like me, where I'm dealing now with heavy and heavier loads, you know, it all adds up, right? I'm losing 2,000 pounds on one chain. That's not good. And actually, I talked to a buddy of mine from Florida who bought a 55-ton Trail King, and I was talking to him about this. I said, by the way, did you, I said, I thought I was under the impression that my D-rings were rated for at least 11,000 pounds, just like my chain. And then I said, I discovered this, that it's only 10,000. I said, you'd better double check with Trail King when they build you this trailer, see if they can give you, you know, stronger D-rings. And he talked to them, and I think they told him his D-rings were like 15 or something, 15 or 13, and his trailer is just a 55-ton trailer, you see. And so what he can do is he can just use 5/8 chain, or he can use a chain like a grade 80 or 100, you know, like you can use a chain with a much higher WLL. And so this way, let's say for this kind of load, right, 120,000, you don't need to put as many chains because each chain has higher WLL, working load limit, right? So let's say if the chain is 20,000, let's just say, you know, and so it can hold 40,000, so now you only need 5 chains to hold 200,000, you know. Of course, that's not realistic, but I'm just giving you guys an example. So it's really important to know the WLL of all your components, and it helps, of course, when that rating is higher. And actually, that's one thing I would also change. Like if I were to sell this trailer and buy a new one, I would make sure that the new trailer D-rings are like 15,000. You know, then I can switch to these new binders, right? And I can use a heavier chain. Just now I'm using 6 and 10 foot long chains, right? 5/8 of course weighs a lot more, so I would just use, like, let's say 3-foot chain, you know. Or I can get, you know, I'm not gonna throw away my half-an-inch chain, but I would get like 4, 5, 6 short pieces of 5/8 chain or whatever, or grade 100, and if my D-rings are rated, you know, properly, and this way it just saves some work, you know. So anyway, so what I'm gonna do 10 to 8. What are we gonna do for another hour? I wanted to stop at the truck stop, but I think, you know, I was not sure if this it's a small truck stop. Sometimes it's very busy. I think what I'll do is I'll just walk back, you know, because I want to get a gulp of fresh air, because I woke up so early today because of that tire. So yeah, I think I'll go for a walk, and I think we're gonna finish the video here. So unfortunately I cannot show you unloading, right? I showed you the load briefly, but I cannot show it in too much detail either. That's just the conditions of my contract. But take my word for it, it's big, it's heavy, and it looks ugly. So, and so the plan unload today, get new permits, because Monday I'm loading back in the States, and then probably unload Tuesday, Wednesday, and as soon as I unload, I don't have a load after that, but Wednesday or Thursday I'm definitely driving. They're already expecting me. I'm driving to the plant where my build was, where my Jeep was built, and they will help me solve the mystery why my Jeep is so much smaller than what I ordered, right? And then after that, I'm already posting my truck for Friday, August 7th. And there's a couple of loads actually in the load board. It looks quite busy. I saw a couple of loads I could definitely do. I saw a Cat 330 in Northern Ontario. I saw, I think it was like 115,000 pounds somewhere over here near Toronto that I can take. So for now, basically, I'll be running with a tandem Jeep and a quad trailer without the booster. And lucky for me, you don't need the booster in this part of Canada and in the nearby US states, because they all give you, see, I was able in Michigan, I was able to get 24,000 pound per axle with my 275 millimeter tires, 11-inch. So if I had 12-inch tires, they would have given me maximum, which is my axle rating, 25,000. So I could have gotten 100,000 on the quad, no problem. So like, why do you need the booster? So you only need the booster when you are down south, like Texas, Florida, you know, Kansas, over there, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Virginia comes to mind, West Virginia. You hardly get, they don't give you too much weight on the quad. So they like the booster. They like 3+1 or 2+2, right? But over here in New York, PA, Indiana, Illinois, even like up north there, Wisconsin, Minnesota, no problem. You want 100,000 pounds? Just show us that you have 12-inch tires, you know? And that's the plan. If like I said, if I keep this trailer, I'm switching to wider tires, 12-inch, on the Jeep and on the trailer. And we're changing the deck, and we're getting a deck insert. And that's it. Alright, sorry for the long video. But basically I made it. I made it very difficult load, very stressful, basically loaded and afraid. But all is well that ends well. I was 8:45, so I walked over there and I watched from the truck to see what they were wearing, and I saw they were not wearing any safety vests, just the hot hats, and of course you need your safety boots. I walked over there and I said, can you sign my paperwork, because I have a cutoff time with my factoring company, 10 o'clock. And the guy says, I'm not signing, and then he uses a 4-letter word. That crane is broken. I said, well, I cannot unload unless somebody signs something, right? Like, I need to have a proof of delivery, otherwise the broker will not pay me. And they said, okay, we're waiting for the boss. And so I just talked to the guy. And he doesn't look too upset, but basically, like, the gist of their side, the way they look at it, he says, if we cannot fix it within a couple of days, we're gonna be losing about 15,000 a day Canadian, you know, because he says they're waiting for this crane at the wind farm, because it just came here for repairs. And he says, how did this happen? And I showed him my Stinger. And this is what I said. This is what happened. I said, $25,000 Stinger Canadian. I said, I'm looking at about 7,000 repairs, and and I said, I'm sorry, but you know, it's not me. I didn't get into a ditch. I didn't hit a car. I didn't hit a tree. I have 20 chains on it. It didn't shift a single millimeter after I went on the pavement, on the asphalt. But basically his concern is, he says, I said, I'm pretty sure it can be welded. Because you can weld aluminum, right? And I remember I climbed in there, I saw that it's a pretty big oil pan. It's probably like the size, you know, from here to the door, like, I don't know, 2 meters, 6 feet. It's pretty big. But I felt it underneath where it was leaking. I could feel some oil, but I didn't feel any cracks. So I told this guy, I said it was just kind of like I think it's like a pinhole crack. But because there's a lot of pressure in there, you know, it's so stuff happens, you know, like equipment fails. And then he says, how did you, basically, if that thing was here, how did you end up with 4 axles? And I said, that's the beauty of this trailer. I said, this is a modular tandem trailer, and these 2 axles here are flip axles, you know. And so I said, we were able to get the booster out, and we hooked up directly like this, and I got lots of weight on my permit for Michigan. So
Sorry?
Is he missing my snap there up front?
Yeah.
Yeah? By how much?
Are you talking about what? The cylinder or the light?
Don't worry about it, I'll look.
No, the cylinder is pretty far. You have like 8 inches. Yeah, you're good. Just watch that light. No, it looks good too.
How close are we to the mats?
Yeah, he's coming down nice